we do. Oh, there, yes, we do. Okay, we will now reconvene the meetings of Thursday, April 14th, 2022 for Palm Desert City Council, successor agency to the Palm Desert Redevelopment Agency and the Housing Authority meeting. So at this time, can we have roll call?
Councilmember Kelly.
Present.
Councilmember Nestande.
Here.
Councilmember Quintanilla.
Presente.
Mayor Harnick.
Yeah,
And Mayor Pro Tem Jonathan is absent.
thank you so much. And now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Councilmember Nestande. Please lead us.
Join me as we honor our flag and our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And we did have, I'm going to give a quick inspiration, and I just want to remind everybody that it's that time of year. Spring has just started. We have Passover, we have Easter, we have Ramadan, we have so many things that are happening in our lives right now that give us time to reflect and take a little inventory of our relationships with our community, with each other, and what it means to us. So with that, I will ask our city attorney, is there any report from closed session?
Yes, there are. We have, referring to the closed session agenda, item B1, the lease with the state of California was approved by unanimous vote. That's 4-0 with Councilmember Jonathan absent. And that was the only reportable action. Direction was given on other items.
Okay. And please give me a moment. I'm having a little trouble with my computer bringing in the agenda items. Okay, at this time, we will go into awards, presentations, and appointments. We have an oral presentation by Tammy Martin regarding the 2022 Wildflower Festival.
Good afternoon. This is Tammy Martin with Friends of the Desert Mountains. Honorable Mayor and distinguished council members. I would like to share my screen, but I'm not seeing where I can share it.
Let me check with Play real quick.
Oh, there we go.
You see it?
Yes.
All right. So, of course, in the desert, adaptability is the key to survival. And as most of you know, we proved that on March 5th for this year's Wildflower Festival. You can see on the right of your screen, we were set up in the park. And then on the left of your screen, we started transitioning into the gymnasium. Okay, now it won't move. Sorry, you guys. It was working just fine. So can you guys see my screen actually?
We can. And we see Mojave Maxine.
Yeah, so it won't let me go to the next screen. Any ideas? It was working fine, so I'm not sure. Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, finally. So for the festival, we had 17 vendors, 10 exhibitors, 7 food trucks, as you can see on the screen, 9 kids zone activities. And this 9 kids zone activities was condensed as Friends of the Desert Mountains had 5 additional activities. But when we moved to the gymnasium, we cut our activities out just to provide for everyone else who came from the community. We had 1 band and then 1 beer and wine garden. Everything was in place at 8:30, as you can see. And then the magical wind came up.
You see the low temps trying to keep things from blowing away. But if you come here, all right, you guys heard it live from the executive director herself. We are moving indoors. We are moving indoors.
So that's when we made the decision at around 8:30 to 8:45 to move indoors to the gymnasium. So we're all set up within 45 minutes of each other. We've got kids zone activities going on. We had the ladies in the red hats show up for the event. Here's a face painter, our adaptive, we deal with the adaptive sports group. So we had 1 attendee come from that group to the festival. And then here's some other exhibitors, visitors at the festival. We had the Boys and Girl Scouts attending. And of course, here's our live desert tortoise at the event in the kids zone. Some vendors, the little boy playing basketball in the gymnasium. To the Bureau of Land Management participating, along with our Rosie Boa, our pet snake here at the office. To our Isabel, who was our 3rd place winner for the 10 to 12-year-old aid group from the Adams YMCA location. And then here's where we revamped the beer and wine garden and food vendors. We had all food vendors move over except for 2 of them. We reset up the beer and wine garden and the band behind the building, and it helped block the wind for the day. Mojave Maxine, and then we had Miss Claudia Zumba kids. They placed 3rd in the youth dance troupe from Indio. Here you can see all the activities going on. You actually had the YMCA having an event going on over there, and a lot of those people came over to the festival. And we took a survey, and many of the people that attended the festival heard it from family and friends. And then, of course, the Friends extensive media campaign. Of the people who surveyed, 75% were first-time festival attendees. People love the variety of activities, especially for kids, and they appreciate the community involvement. And then Palm Desert residents made up 25% of the attendees, with 50% coming from other Coachella Valley cities, and then 25% were out of the area. Again, Mojave Maxine. And then here I would like to thank the City of Palm Desert for your continued support of the Wildflower Festival. Without your continued support, there's no way that we could put on this festival and make it profitable. Your money goes to good use. And what we've learned from this festival is we need to increase our kids zone. So we're looking at other ways to reset up the Civic Center Park to make this happen for next year. So again, I appreciate you taking the time to look at the presentation, the results, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, are there any questions or comments for Tammy?
Again, and we couldn't make this possible without the City of Palm Desert, the Desert Recreation District, who, we turned things around within 45 minutes and had everything set back up. So again, thank you for the employees at these locations.
Well, thank you so much for working so hard to bring it to our community, and just responding as you needed and making sure that you brought that education to all those students and those young people. And Thank you so very much for doing that. We look forward to next year, but with a little less wind.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay. That is our only presentation. Do we have any comments from the city manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to invite Thomas Soul on for a little bit. They are knee deep in planning for a number of community projects right now and events, and wanted to give him just a minute or two to let everyone know what he's working on. So Thomas, I'll turn that over to you.
Good afternoon. I'm Thomas Soul, your Public Affairs Manager, and we do have a number of activities that are going on at the moment. Continuing nightly through April 29th is Glow in the Park at the Living Desert, which is an amazing display of illuminated lanterns. Really cool event. I think it's a new level for the zoo. That goes through April 29th. April 15th is Open Call, the talent project at the McCallum Theater. That'll be this Saturday, featuring lots of local talent. It's an amazing show as well. On April 18th, the Virginia Waring International Piano Competition concludes with the concerto finals with full orchestra at 6 p.m. That'll be on the 18th. On the 20th, Palm Desert's public art documentary film series concludes its season with a screening at 6 p.m. of Wasteland. That's up at UCR Palm Desert. On the 24th is Community Sunday at the Artist Center at the Galen. That's in the afternoon, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's free art performances and activities for families and children to help get the children interested in art activities and have a fun time. And then on April 27th, we're happy to welcome back the Clydesdales on El Paseo, which is always an amazing thing to see them coming down the street. That's 2 to 4 p.m. And as always, for more information about things that are happening, meetings that are happening at the city, please visit cityofpalmdesert.org. And for information on events and happenings around the Coachella Valley, please visit palmdesert.com/events.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Thomas Soul? No? Okay, thank you so much. Is there anything additional from our city manager?
Not right now, Mayor. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Then we'll go to City Council reports and requests for action. Why don't we start with Councilmember Nestandi?
No reports this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we will go to Councilmember Quintanilla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to report that I had the opportunity to attend the Salton Symposium at UC Riverside's Palm Desert campus. I believe that the YouTube video will be out soon for anyone that wants to catch up. There's a lot of extremely pertinent information to the community and hopefully to the longevity and planning of Palm Desert. So again, that'll be a YouTube link available. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kelly.
First, I want to share some really exciting news with members of the public and anyone at City Hall who hasn't heard that at the last meeting of the Regional Council for Southern California Association of Governments, our own Mayor Jan Harnick was elected to serve as the president of the Regional Council for the coming year. This is a tremendous accomplishment. Very much affirms our city's commitment to the importance of regional work and will put her in a position to set the tone for SCAG's very important work in the year to come. So we can look forward to Jan as mayor and incoming president appearing at the General Conference right here at the General Assembly right here at the JW Marriott. I'll note that Palm Desert is privileged to have previously had a council member serve in this position. So two from a city of our size really speaks to the level of our council's work and again, our historic commitment to regional work. So congratulations, Jan.
Thank you.
I have a small request for action. I heard this week from a resident who was concerned about the number of properties immediately adjacent to his home being purchased by investors who would be renting long-term because he had no means to figure out how to make contact with the owners about the typical sort of neighbor issues that come up, repairing the fence, etc. So I'd appreciate it if staff could do some brief research to see if there are any patterns out there that would address this situation by way of requiring absentee property owners to give notice of contact information to immediate neighbors so that it's easy for folks to know how to handle emergencies, etc. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to reiterate a little what Thomas talked about at the Artists Council at the Galen, and I was able to attend the award ceremony for the young artists from across our valley. And they have some great art and it's very inspirational, and that's through May 15th. So if you have a chance, go on over there, take a look, and you'll be really impressed with what our young people are doing in the art, what the Artists Council, what they're providing for them to achieve. And it really is amazing. I do want to mention, because it's worth mentioning, that this city is continuing to work and fight to get our own Cal State University campus right here that will serve our region. And that's all. So now we'll go to non-agenda.
Madam Mayor, may I interrupt? I would like to support Councilmember Kelly's request to find information about how to look up adjacent absentee property owners. Thank you.
Absolutely, and it's in everybody's best interest that that is enabled. So hopefully we'll be able to find a solution. Non-agenda public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to speak on issues that are not on the agenda, and they can speak for up to 3 minutes. Speakers may use one of 3 options listed on the back page of this agenda, and when I'm through with this announcement, we will mention what those are. Because of the Brown Act, it does not allow any of the bodies meeting today to take action on the items not on the agenda, but we will take note and recommend a way to deal with those issues and address them. So can we have the city clerk or designee tell us how everyone can participate?
Certainly. For those on Zoom, if you would like to make public comment, click on the raise hand button on your screen or smartphone. If you're calling in, please use, if you're calling in using only the phone line, press *9 to raise your hand to speak. And when called upon, press *6 to unmute your line. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes and state your first and last name for the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I see 2 hands up. So we have one that begins with 949, a phone number that begins with 949.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Joe Stein, and I appreciate the mayor and council's time for a couple comments. I'm the owner of the Blaze Pizza here in Palm Desert since we opened in 2016. And we're in the El Paseo Square Shopping Center, and our building we are in borders on Lupine Avenue. So my comments are in regards to the proposed Lupine Plaza.
Sir, Mr. Stein, that
Yes.
is an agenda item, and that's agenda item number 22. So if you can
Okay.
hold your comment till that time, it would be certainly more in context.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great.
I will.
Thank you so much. We have Alex. It says Alex, DLC.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi. My name is Alex De La Cruz, and I appreciate you hearing out my comments today. I am 25 years old, and I have lived here since I was 7 years old, most of my life. I'm here to ask that you please allow electric scooter companies, specifically Bird, to operate here in our city. There are many reasons why we should have them now, and they used to be looked at as a nuisance, but they're really not anymore because they have been working in all these other cities in California for all these years. And every year we just need them more and more. So here are just 10 reasons why we need them. So first and foremost, it gets us from point A to point B. It will be our affordable mode of transportation. It seems like we kind of expect everyone to have a car, but imagine if every single person had a car, our streets would not be able to handle that. There are already too many pedestrian deaths and traffic. And if you don't have a car, you can't have a good life here. So everything is spread out and we have no true freedom of movement. So which brings me to reason number 2, it'll fill in the gap where there is no bus nearby. The bus service is not reliable in many areas and hours. Number 3, it is great for the local economy. People will shop more locally and nearby and leave their houses. And 4, it will let people beat the heat, get to their destination faster instead of walking in the hot desert sun. Number 5, less cars on the road, safer city. 6, gas prices are insane right now, and we are depending too much on oil. 7, it'll make high school teens and people in general more independent and not have to ask for rides to places, which is embarrassing. 8, climate change is here and we should be more eco-friendly. We should welcome this eco-friendly option with open arms, considering today's climate emergency. Every year is getting hotter and hotter. Number 8, I believe, or 9, it creates an active lifestyle for our residents. People will take them to hike trails, parks, and CV Link, etc. And number 10, Coachella Valley is receiving the CV Link, and alternative options for transportation should be growing. Indio and Coachella are the first 2 cities to introduce them, and we should be the third because we want to be connected as the valley that we are. The only negative thing I heard somebody say about them was that they are all over town, but that's kind of the point of them, so you can easily hop on and off. I truly believe that the fact that they may not be aesthetically pleasing to some people should not be more important than our ability to get to work. E-scooters will help some people, but not everybody. So the true goal here is to have good public transportation, a new ambitious plan that will be enough for people to not need a car, because right now our public transit is not so good. But we just can't have neither of these two. We're kind of stranded right now. So I hope you can introduce them to the city soon. It would be great to have them before another scorching hot summer arrives. Please and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. De La Cruz. Okay, I see no other hands up. So we will now move to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any of the council members would like to pull for discussion?
Madam Mayor, if I could note that staff has issued a memo amending item 6 related to the ceremonial proclamations and recognitions. It's a minor revision to the resolution. If you would be so inclined to incorporate that into the motion.
Okay, thank you. So yes.
I will move the consent agenda
Okay.
with the modification just described.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, let me ask this. Would any of my colleagues like to make any comments on any of the items on the consent calendar? And I see no hands up, but I do want to mention one quick thing. We have, we talked about where is that? I wish I'd have circled it. The new El Paseo exhibition, the new 18 pieces of art. And I just want to thank our committee who's done all the work for all the great work they've done, because this looks like Oh, that's number 10. It looks like the El Paseo sculpture exhibition is going to be outstanding. So I just wanted to make a quick comment on that. And we have a motion and a second. We can have a vote, please.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla,
Aye.
Mayor Harning.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you so much. Okay, that moves us then to the action calendar. Number 19, resolution authorizing the submittal of an application to the California Natural Resources Agency Department of Parks and Recreation for the Palma Village Parks Improvement Project. And who will be giving us that presentation?
That would be me, Mary Harnick. Welcome. Good afternoon. I'm Sean Muir, Management Analyst in Parks and Recreation. Good afternoon to members of the City Council. This is a grant that was offered by the State Parks and Recreation for a little over $210,000. If it is used in a park that is in a disadvantaged community, then there is no match required. So together with the Public Works Department, I've worked on this proposal to do some upgrades at Palma Village Park, including upgrading the lighting to LEDs and changing out the benches and tables.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions and comments or comments? Okay, I see Councilmember Kelly.
Yes, thank you. I had asked a question before the session about whether we intend any further resident outreach or engagement as this process moves forward. And the reply was that there had been resident input in choosing what the focus of the improvements would be, but none is planned as implementation progresses. It just strikes me as a golden opportunity to nurture more resident engagement with the city process, to give people a chance to look at the proposed benches, etc., and give some feedback. So would it be feasible to create an opportunity for that? I understand we're using postcards to get some resident feedback on some other issues. Could we use postcards to perhaps just alert people to where they could learn about the proposed design for replacement benches and tables to continue to involve them in the process?
Yes, I believe the answer to that would be it is absolutely feasible. There will be some upcoming outreach done for that park with other grant funds that will be coming through to do other more exciting projects to activate the park. So we can absolutely include design elements and items like that for public engagement. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other comments? Well, this is exciting. That's a great little park over there, and it serves a lot of families, and seeing it just be, you know, it's a wonderful park, and we're going to polish it up and make it even better for the families who live there. So that's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so are there any questions? And if not, I will certainly entertain a motion.
So with that encouragement, I will move to approve with the request that staff continue to engage residents through postcards and other methods, and explicitly to get feedback on proposed designs for benches and tables before we actually write the check. They're the ultimate users and may identify tweaks that would produce a much happier result. So my motion is to approve with the instruction to staff to continue resident engagement at the further stages so that folks have opportunities for input.
Great. And we saw
I'll
what a
second
great,
the motion.
Great. We saw what a great result we got with that when we did that with San Pablo. So I think that's a great idea. We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla,
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you so much. And now we'll go to 20, which is the resolution and request to sign the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge to renew the city's efforts to protect and enhance the pollinator population.
That item is also mine, so
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere yet. This is a request to renew the Mayor's Monarch Pledge in 2021 that had already been executed when I came on board. So we're looking to continue that for the next year. There has already been a beautiful pollinator garden installed at Civic Center Park. And with this new resolution, we're looking to install a monarch mural within the city and do some educational signage near the pollinator garden, which is already initiated and underway. And then also plant milkweed throughout the city where it's feasible to attract pollinators and encourage the community to get involved with supporting pollinators.
Great. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Quintanilla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sean, I would like to ask, is there anywhere in particular that the pockets of milkweed will be planted? I know that when I took a tour with Randy Chavez, he pointed out a lot of them, but was wondering if there's a place to get that, and if there is a program to collect any of those seeds and disperse them forward to allow people to plant them in their yards.
That's a really great question. Unfortunately, Randy Chavez was not able to join us here today. However, I know I spoke with him about incorporating milkweed on some of the medians and areas that are maybe not as visible in the city because it's not the most attractive plant. It is a weed. However, we do want to incorporate it. So we have the pollinator garden, and we'll be looking at opportunities to incorporate new pollinator gardens. Since annually participation in this program, the city would need to implement measures to keep pollinators, active in their areas. So we'll add as the years go on if the city chooses to continue participation.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Well, this goes hand in hand with Wildflower Festival, doesn't it? This is perfect. Oh, and we do have a proclamation that we are providing to the group, and it really talks about everything you've just heard. And I'll just read one short part. It says, healthy pollinator populations are critical to the continued economic well-being of agricultural producers in the Coachella Valley and of the economy of the United States. And it goes on to cite a few things that show us how important it is. And I know the Living Desert has had a great garden for years. And so we can complement that and really exponentially increase those pollinators. So that's great. So if there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, would you like to check for public comment?
Oh, thank you for reminding me, and please don't be, know that you should remind me every time you can. Yeah, is there any, I don't see any. Is there any public comment? I do not see any.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I'll entertain a motion.
I motion to move.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla,
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
thank you so much. And we will now go to approve the amendment number 4 to contract number C36620 with Family YMCA of the Desert for management and staffing of the Palm Desert Aquatic Center. And who will be, it looks like you're up again.
promise it's the last one.
Okay,
So this is the renewal of the contract with the YMCA to manage the Palm Desert Aquatic Center. It's the fourth and final renewal available on this contract, and next year we'll be going out to bid, but this is for the approval of the fiscal year 22-23.
okay. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wait, okay. Are there any public comments? I caught myself.
Very good.
Thank you.
I will move to approve.
I will second the motion.
Great. So we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla,
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
And we will now move to item number 22, which is recommendation by minute motion, approve the final preliminary design for a permanent Lupine Plaza and direct the Public Works Department to commence with the preparation of construction drawings for the build out of the plaza. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I am Deborah Glickman, Management Analyst with the Economic Development Department, as well as Project Manager for the Lupine Plaza, potential Lupine Plaza permanent design. Before you today is a request for approval of a concept design for a permanent Lupine Plaza. Staff has been working with MIG Inc. to create a proposal for the project, which is going to come before you tonight. I have a brief PowerPoint to discuss the overview of the process as well as the community outreach for the project, and then I will turn it over to MIG for discussion of the proposed design concept. So if you give me just one moment, I will share my screen. So as you know, the Lupine Plaza project started as an emergency action due to COVID-19. The city put in a temporary plaza for local restaurants to serve food as well as people to be outside during the time when a lot of places were closed inside. That plaza remained in place through December 21st. It included tables, chairs, umbrellas, the ability for outdoor dining, and there were some small events, including a small DJ event and a little bit of music here and there. After the plaza was put in, the city decided that it was, and city council decided that it was interested in pursuing a design for a more permanent space. So an RFP was put out and MIG Inc. was selected to create the design. At the same time, the city council appointed an 8-member Lupine Plaza subcommittee. The subcommittee consisted of 2 city council members and then 1 representative each from the El Paseo Parking and Business Improvement District, El Paseo Square, the Planning Commission, Architectural Review Commission, Cultural Arts Committee, and Parks and Recreation Commission. Staff, as well as MIG, conducted a number of community engagement programs, as well as community outreach, including 2 community engagement events, one on December 3rd on site, one on February 15th on Zoom. These events were all publicized through the city's social media, as well as the El Paseo Business Improvement District newsletter, meetings, and Facebook page, as well as over the last few months, the city has contracted with FG Creative to go door to door and do additional work than they used to do just for the El Paseo Business Improvement District and actually engage with the merchants more and get feedback on city-related issues, including Lupine Plaza. In the time of the last 3 months, 4 months actually, FG Created has had over 250 interactions with businesses on El Paseo. The project was also put on engagepalmdesert.com, and that is an ongoing process. There were 3 Lupine Plaza subcommittee meetings, as well as a stakeholder meeting, key stakeholder with 8 surrounding businesses, and several individual meetings, a couple of with El Paseo Square, Coda Gallery, the Cobble Building, which is the building to the west, and Topman. There was a City Council study session on March 10th, just last month, as well as presentations to the El Paseo Business Improvement District, Parks and Recreation Commission, and Cultural Arts Committee. Staff internally had key engagements with staff members from Public Works and Public Affairs, and you can see a number of different departments, including including fire and police for safety issues. This project was run by the police as well as the CSO officer for input as to how to keep the plaza as safe as possible. The community feedback is wide-ranging. There's a lot of interest in providing a space for rest and respite along El Paseo and closing off the street. There's also some concern from the merchants right around the street, right around Lupin, about the street being closed off due to some homelessness issues during the temporary plaza shutdown and some traffic-related issues. There was a request for a public restroom facility, a few requests for that, number of them. So MIG has worked that into the program as a potential for that location. The concern over maintenance, as well as an excitement for a new space to hold smaller events and gatherings. This would not be intended for an event that would take place on El Paseo proper or on San Pablo. That is a brief overview. And with that, I'm going to stop my screen share and turn the presentation over to Ryan and Rick, who have just come onto the screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. And thank you, Madam Mayor and council members, for having us here again today. We're very excited to present this conceptual design study for Lupin Plaza. And this afternoon, we plan to go through these 6 items to summarize the project. And we will end with a summary and Q&A. And this schedule shows how beginning in November, we completed a number of the community engagement events that Deborah described along the top half of this graphic, and how they directly informed development of the conceptual study throughout the last 6 months and leading us to today before you. And so going into a little bit more detail, we started this process with a review of existing city plans and policies, including the general plan, conducting a site tour, and documenting existing conditions. And these were really used to kick off a number of those first engagement sessions with the subcommittee and stakeholders to really try and tease out some of the vision, goals, and principles for what a future plaza could look like. And out of those conversations, we're highlighting here the 4 main words that kept on coming out with everyone. And first and foremost was that it should be a very elegant design, a very, as Deborah mentioned, very restful and respite, but it should also be very integrated with El Paseo and engaging so that the plaza is well utilized going forward. And so after those initial conversations, we brought some of those visions and those words to the community to get more detail on what specific elements they would like to see in the plaza and what kind of design aesthetics and quality they would like to see. So over those few months, that led us to the development of this preferred concept, which proposes a pedestrian plaza from, and sorry, for everyone, for orientation. North is to the right of the screen over here where my cursor is. So this is El Paseo on the left. And then this is Lupin Lane heading from left to right on your screen. So we are proposing a pedestrian plaza from El Paseo to the access point for the Cabo Building parking lot. And this would include some improvements to the intersection of Lupin Lane and El Paseo, which could occur as part of this project or at another time. And the main elements of the plaza would be a grove of shade trees on the western half of the plaza, and then a shade structure to accommodate emergency vehicle access, and then kind of including a number of individual elements throughout the plaza from a variety of seating types to different areas of hardscape and landscape. And showing that in a little bit more detail is this sketch taken from El Paseo, which shows some elements like a gateway arch, which would draw upon kind of the architectural aesthetics along El Paseo. And this could include features such as water features, landscape areas, and a variety of seating from movable cafe seating to permanent seating structures. And we also developed a second sketch, and this shows an approach to Lupin Plaza from Highway 111 and in the evening time. And this showcases a number of things, including how a small event could take place, such as an outdoor movie in the plaza, and really highlighting elements like how we're integrating lighting throughout the proposed design to create a very kind of calm and peaceful atmosphere. And then also, as we'll get into a little bit more, addressing issues of safety. And so getting to that, we are going to dig a little bit deeper into some of the main comments that we received throughout this process that really inform the overall design of the plaza, as well as all of the individual elements. And these were comments that kept on coming up through all of our engagement sessions with the community. And those are that the plaza should be of really high character and quality, addressing potential issues of traffic and access, ensuring safety, and then also addressing potential for homeless population. And so for each of those 4 categories too, we developed a number of multiple strategies that we think will address each of those concerns in the proposed preferred concept design. So for example, for plaza character and quality, making shade a #1 priority, and everything from the quality of materials that they stand up to the weather, and then coordinating the design so that we can use substantial materials like concrete and metals that would be underneath the shade and so they won't heat. And then in terms of addressing traffic and access, there were a number of comments, and so we had a traffic engineering team or group as part of our team, and one of the things we prioritized was retaining access points to all of the adjacent parking and adjacent buildings, and then a number of recommendations for improvements that would ease the transition for the closing of a portion of Lupin Lane, including signage and rerouting. And then the third category of safety, we identified a number of issues and strategies out of multiple conversations with the subcommittee, police, fire, and public works, and really kind of stressing SEPTED strategies, which is kind of an industry standard for crime prevention through environmental design. And an example being providing clear sight lines through the plaza. So everything from selecting of the landscaping to the potential for a restroom, they'd be selected so that you could see through the plaza or see if someone was or how many people would be in the restroom, but still providing their privacy. So all these elements were really thoughtful in our selection. And then lastly, for potential for the homeless population, again, it's a combination of individual elements. So seating would be designed with sufficient barriers, and lighting is programmable and changeable. And electric outlets, they could be locked or shut off at certain hours to discourage overnight sleeping, while this would also include coordination with all the existing city resources. And it was something that public safety was confident with through conversations with them. And our recommendation, it also includes a number of landscape elements that come from the city's landscape guidelines, potentially even maybe incorporating some milkweed, as we heard from earlier. So this would create a wide variety of colors and textures through all seasons, and they would all be drought-tolerant plantings. We also had an artist on our team who we worked with to develop an overall unifying theme for public art in the plaza. And we also met with the Public Arts Committee to identify a few priority elements within the plaza that would be great candidates to receive public art. And one of the comments that we heard back was the opportunities for latent education associated with public art. And so overall, this proposed concept ranges from about 3 to 5 million, depending upon the final scope and scale of the project. And that would include both design and construction costs. And as part of that study, we also looked at funding opportunities and identified at least 9 grant funding opportunities. And here we're highlighting the top 3 that we think Lupin Plaza would be most competitive for. And so they range at the national scale from raised grants by the US DOT to California programs that are ongoing, from the Urban Green Program and the Sustainable Communities Grant. And they vary in terms of local match and different levels. And then finally, we, depending upon funding opportunities and availability, we have a range of timelines in which this project could be completed within. And so expected that it could, final design and construction could be completed in kind of early to mid 2024, and that could extend depending upon other factors. And as Deborah mentioned, the project has been posted on Engage Palm Desert throughout this first phase, and we plan, if this project continued, to post future phases on this and use it as a tool for continuing to engage with the community. And so, in summary, the preferred concept is a proposed cost of about $3 to $4 million, with a timeline to completion of about 2.5 years, which would put it around mid 2024 or early 2025. And again, kind of just summarizing some of the key issues we heard from the community, which there was of both kind of support and some hesitancy for the project, was that it should be of a high quality design, that it shouldn't create any issues of traffic and access, that we need to ensure safety and address any potential homelessness issues. And with that, I thank you for giving us the time to share this, and look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much. Okay, for the council, are there any questions for MIG or for staff at this time? And I see Councilmember Keithania has her hand up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is for AGI. I appreciate that you've gone out of your way to find potential grant funding, and was wondering if you can let us know about how competitive those grants are, how many organizations are applying, and how likely are we to get them? And my question for staff is, what is the possibility of having more of those Portland loos put around town? I was kind of skeptical in reading the report first, but after hearing or reading the reviews from other city managers saying that the cost of one of those would be what it would require to maintain annually throughout the city and others. So what are the feasibilities? Thank you.
I will start with the questions about the Portaloos. That would be at city councils and city managers' direction. So we could work with anything for that if this is something that the city council finds interesting. As far as the grants, before Ryan jumps in, I do want to say that staff, MIG worked with public works staff to compare what grants are already being explored for the city, so that this project isn't taking from existing grant opportunities. So I wanted you to know that that was something that had been vetted already. And then Ryan knows a whole lot more about them than I do, so I'm going to turn it over to him for an answer for the rest.
Yes, and it's actually quite variable for each individual grant, as you can assume. And so the report kind of lays out kind of the average amounts for each one. So I think it was the Urban Greening Grant. It has an average of about 1.7 million per project. A lot of the grant funding, there's about, and the Urban Greening, they also in recent years have been about 25% funding rate, depending upon number of applicants. The raised grants, those have been kind of significantly raised in terms of the amount of money available for this year. That was part of kind of the bipartisan national infrastructure bill. So how that funding level going forward, again, something that changes a little bit year by year. But I think for both design and construction, there are multiple opportunities to identify grant funding.
Thank you so much for being so diligent. I appreciate it.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, I see none. So let's go to public comment at this time. And I see Mr. Goodman has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I presume it's me. There's two Goodmans here, one representing El Paseo Square and one representing Coda Gallery.
Okay, well, we have, all I know is I have two Paul Goodmans, so I'll leave it to you to
I'm
take
one of the
turns.
Paul Goodmans, so I shall start the ball rolling. There's another Paul Goodman. As you know, Mayor Harnick, you and I have spoken about this over the last couple of years, and we talked about the temporary plaza and the disasters that came from that, the umbrellas overblowing, litter everywhere, trash, underused by the restaurants for which it was designed, and homelessness and sanitary problems leading to rats on the street. Very serious situations. There was a petition signed, I know, by more than 24 people, 24 retailers. I think it's probably over 30 now, and a series of other complaints and requests to say, please do not close Lupine Lane. That we need it for through traffic. It's disturbing for businesses. It's detrimental to the businesses. From a Coda Gallery point of view, we lost access to our receiving and shipping. And that is awkward when you're moving hundreds of pounds in weight of sculpture pieces, for instance, in and out of the gallery. Other retailers have their own issues. Lupine, the El Paseo Square retailers do not want to see Lupine, El Paseo Square become a racetrack for traffic running through from the what's left of Lupine Lane. This is a $5 million investment you're considering. And if you want to find a way to improve a restful scene on El Paseo Square and provide for visitors, residents, and retailers alike, why not spend the money on just improving and providing shade trees on El Paseo Square and some seating areas along the street? You had a consultants for about $100,000 a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, Gibbs and Company, I believe, who had a number of ideas about bump outs, parking, restaurant sidewalks, which have happened anyway as a result of COVID. This $5 million investment won't give you a big enough plaza to have events. It will probably be underused as the other one was. It will lead to homelessness. It will lead to sanitary problems. It will be detrimental to businesses. And therefore, we are urging you, Coda Gallery in particular, who has suffered from this. We have a sculpture park. Sculpture sales went way down when it was closed. People couldn't see all our wind sculptures. It's a detrimental to our business. It's detrimental to other businesses. It's detrimental to El Paseo. And let's if you're going to spend the money, spend it on El Paseo itself. We are really very much against this idea and urge the council to reconsider. The closure of Lupine Lane will be a disaster for the city of Palm Desert, a costly disaster, and a maintenance disaster. Nobody's talked about maintenance, a maintenance disaster. So please reconsider this and find another way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Now I have the next Paul Goodman is up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, that was probably the issue. I would just echo the other Mr. Goodman by requesting the city to dig deeper into doing a more detailed traffic impact study. With traffic coming off of Lupine, going towards El Paseo and realizing there's a dead-end cul-de-sac, they will have an issue with a truck turnaround right at the end there. If they can't get into Cobley Square, they will be forced to go through El Paseo Square, which is even more congested. And my concern is that they're going to try and do a shortcut all the way to El Paseo through El Paseo Square, and that ingress off of El Paseo into the square will become an egress. And that will be, the implications will be more for traffic accidents and the like. So I just echo the other comments, but also I'm really requesting a more detailed traffic impact study that will impact the local residents, the local businesses and retailers. The other comment I'd like to make is public restroom, a great idea, because if the square does go up, the plaza does go up, the retailers would be burdened with more people using their restrooms and not buying stuff. But obviously with public restrooms, that will be another addition to the concern of homelessness and homeless people using those restrooms. Maintaining public restrooms is a huge expense. So, you know, there's the catch-22 there. So with that, I thank you for listening to my comments.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have somebody from Slovak, Baron, and Ymca who would like to speak.
Yes, good evening. My name is Bruce Bauer. I'm with Slovak, Baron, Ymca, Murphy, and Pinckney. Good evening, Mayor Harnick, City Council members, City Manager, City Attorney, and City staff. Our firm represents Paseo Square Shopping Center, represents El Paseo LLC. We're the owners of El Paseo Square Shopping Center and have an interest in the Coda Gallery located at the corner of El Paseo and Lupine Lane in the city. Given their central location in the planned project, our client is critically impacted by the proposed project and therefore should have an accordingly high stake and voice in this proposed project. I'm speaking tonight to voice our client's strong opposition to several of the iterations of the proposed project. We're concerned that the city is proposing this project, although its existence is no longer required. As the city knows, this project was fostered during COVID pandemic in September 2020, when they authorized the creation of this plaza and outdoor dining area. It was created in response to the COVID pandemic. It was deemed to be a temporary measure that was put in place to address the extraordinary crisis that ensued during the pandemic. During 2020 and 2021, there was an immediate need for outdoor spaces to allow businesses to function given the problems with the cancellation of festivals and the turndown in tourism generally. Those conditions no longer apply here. And as we know, the prior existing Lupine Plaza, the police were already having a hard time dealing with increasing crime and homelessness in the area and were overwhelmed with the problems that existed there. We believe that the emergency that created the Lupine Plaza is thankfully behind us, and the residents and businesses of the city are eager to return to business as normal. However, the city has now inexplicitly persisted with the idea the project may be made permanent. There does not appear to have been a CEQA analysis or environmental impact report to properly evaluate the severe and derogatory impacts of permanently closing Lupine Lane. Any such proposed project would be prevented until such an analysis would be conducted. We do not believe that a proposal for the project that anticipates the closure of Lupine Lane will withstand the withering scrutiny of a CEQA analysis. And for all those reasons and some of the reasons other commentators have stated, our clients strongly oppose any design concepts for the project that include the closure of Lupine Plaza. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We will now move to the next speaker, Gail Moore. And
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Gail Moore. I'm a Palm Desert resident since 2005, and I'm here in support of this project. I love to walk the length of El Paseo and see which new stores and restaurants there are. And the location of this is perfect because it's almost half point down El Paseo, and if well thought out with the shade and the seating, it's an excellent designated meeting point for residents. Just think, trees on El Paseo, what a novel concept. So I'd love to see this take place as long as it's kept very clean. I'm anti portaloos and I'm anti open fountains. I can't tell you the number of homeless people I've seen stripped down in front of the fountain outside of Don Diego's and take baths. So we need to be cautious with those. But I think that this would be a positive enhancement and would support going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's the day of same last names. Ms. Moore.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. Ruth Ann Moore, 44509 Sorrento Court, Palm Desert, California. I'm here speaking as a resident in favor of the Lupine project. Although I'm now only a resident, prior to retiring, I worked with the merchants on El Paseo for over 20 years and ran many events on El Paseo. I think that anytime that you can create a sense of space, it will enhance the shopping experience as part of the recommendation by the previous consultants from over 4 years ago that were mentioned prior. It appears from the staff report that you have done extensive community, merchant, and developer outreach and have had lots of participation in this development, similar to the successful San Pablo project. The idea of another location on El Paseo to create events, I believe, is important rather than always having to shut down the street, which I believe affects more merchants and affects more sales on the street when that does happen. Over the years, I did many surveys with merchants on this street and know what they were looking for lots of times. And lots of times there were comments from public too, and the public comments always included shaded seating. I don't know how many of you have sat on those concrete benches in July, but they can be a bit uncomfortable, to say the least. But the biggest survey question that I always heard was public restrooms. I'm not sure that you're aware, but there is truly only one public restroom on El Paseo for all 9 blocks. And that is down a very long hallway in the gardens on El Paseo on the 1st floor, to my knowledge. Other than that, unless you are eating at a restaurant and can use their public restroom, or possibly a merchant might let you, that is the only restroom that is available. And finally, the last thing I just wanted to talk about is that the storefronts on the other streets light up the side streets. And from being down in that area before, I know it tends to be quite dark. And therefore, I think that having this type of plaza would actually light up that area and make it more secure. For all of those reasons, I believe the Lupine Plaza would be an asset to both El Paseo and the city of Palm Desert. And thank you for the time.
Thank you for your thoughts. We have an additional speaker popped up. Mr. Heaton, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I am Sam Heaton, Gallery Director of Coda Gallery. In all due respect, the city has not listened to our feedback and seems focused on the approval of this project, no matter what the community response is. Palm Desert would be better served by updating and improving El Paseo itself with shade trees and restful seating areas, rather than redeveloping Lupin Lane. To say that adjacent businesses are concerned is an understatement. MIG's first meeting with the public was in December 2021 at a casual evening affair and is supporting this proposal with community feedback from that event. Coda Gallery has lived with Lupin Lane being blocked and the ensuing problems since 2020. Blocking through traffic on Lupin Lane with the temporary plaza last year caused major problems with traffic flow and customers' ability to access area businesses, delivery vehicle access, and parking, and was rarely used. I sincerely urge the City Council to keep Lupin Lane open for through traffic between 111 El Paseo. Palm Deserts, its residents, visitors, and businesses would be better served by updating and improving El Paseo itself, providing shade trees and restful seating areas, which was part of a previous plan for El Paseo that was never implemented. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And I see no one else in the queue at this time. So let's go to discussion. I'd love to hear some comments from the council, please. Yes, Councilmember Kelly.
Let me start with a question. I wonder if someone from staff or our consultants could feature for us how the proposed design addresses the delivery access issues that have been raised by the speakers.
I will ask MIG to answer that question, please.
I'm just going to share my screen. And as part of this plan, we have designated a loading area that would be used by Coda Gallery as an on-street parking space. So currently there is a loading area a little bit farther down the block. So we are just proposing to shift that a little bit north of Lupin Lane, and so that and then provide some buffer between the plaza and that loading area, as well as complying with all city standards for regulations for striping and signage for all traffic elements, which we're doing for all elements of the plaza to indicate that it's a loading area, and then with direct access to those two loading areas right here.
So if a large sculpture was being unloaded, what path would it take to get to the gallery?
And it would depend upon the different type of truck. So if so this loading space would accommodate the like UPS box truck and things like that, which could hold some. And so there are multiple ways in which they could do this. And I think what we saw during our site visit was that the Coda Gallery truck can do a kind of a 3-point turn in some cases, or to provide enough space to do a turnaround to access this. And then also in terms of larger deliveries, this design, it preserves access for emergency vehicles, and it could also be used for be opened up for particularly large deliveries on occasion.
Does that answer your question? Great. Okay, and I see Councilmember Quintanilla has her hand up.
Thank you, Mayor. In hearing all of the different arguments presented, including those that we received by email, I can see there's a lot to consider. But I have a follow-up question to Councilmember Kelly's concern about the loading dock. We've all seen many times people in a rush park somewhere despite the numerous signs that say don't park here. I want to know either from MIG, what specific signage do you have drafts of things that you've used elsewhere, or to staff, what are some of the ways to limit people from parking there when they think I'm just going to stop 10 minutes or drop off something or someone?
So this is a, go ahead, Deborah.
No, go ahead, Rick. I was gonna.
So yeah, my name is Rick Barrett, principal with MIG, working with Ryan and city staff. So we would work closely with the city on designating that as a permanent loading, unloading spot, and with the appropriate signage, whatever would be required by city standards. And then we would, have to work closely with the city to make sure that it's enforced through police observation and other activities. So Deborah, you want to maybe add to that?
No, we would, if this design concept is approved, those are the actual signage, things like that are the next steps for this process. But everything would adhere to city standards, just as the loading zone would be now. It would be duplicated and potentially stronger.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kelly, please.
Given this discussion, here's what I think is the appropriate next step, which we should take tonight. We should approve the conceptual designs for the pedestrian plaza itself, with instructions to refine the delivery access issues, to address concerns that have been expressed as fully as possible, including a design that assures access to that emergency lane for large deliveries. I do not think we should approve the concept tonight for the intersection on El Paseo itself. And this is why. We have previously commented about how untimely it would be to chew up any part of El Paseo itself in the near term future. Our businesses are recovering from the pandemic. We know that all construction projects have delays exacerbated by current supply chain issues. We're experiencing that with President's Plaza. So I just don't see moving forward with that piece anytime soon. And by the time we might wish to address the part of El Paseo that's adjacent to the plaza, there might be new factors and considerations that would inform the design. So I know we need to hear from others, but my sentiments before hearing from others would be that we should approve the conceptual design for the pedestrian plaza itself, with the instructions I previously described about refinement of delivery aspect features.
Thank you. Councilmember Nastandi.
Thank you, Mayor. And I concur with Councilmember Kathleen Kelly at her suggestion of approving the overall design concept. Serving on the subcommittee, we really have worked hard to listen to the community. We've done the community outreach, and we are listening and addressing many of the concerns that were shared with us tonight from Coda Gallery and the other speakers. And really, the goal is to integrate El Paseo with a permanent structure where people can gather. We heard another speaker say that this is a great halfway point for people to gather. And our intent is not to hurt businesses. Our goal is to help create a positive experience for El Paseo and to help our businesses. And I'm confident we can overcome any of the concerns we've heard this evening. So I don't know if Councilmember Kelly made a motion. I would second it.
Thank you. Councilmember Quintanilla, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to echo support for a tentative move forward so that we have time to reassess. Some of the comments that I want to bring forth, independent of Palm Desert residents, are that people from other cities that come to Palm Desert for a visit say a lot of the things we wish were open later close a little early. And the opportunity to have a well-lit area could actually help other businesses thrive outside of their normal scheduled business hours. Additionally, this could be a great place to meet before you go have a drink or on your way to a place to walk in between. So I think that the idea of walkable green space is a great asset to the city. But again, I think that where a lot of businesses are looking at the detriment, I would encourage to look long-term at the potential benefits. And I agree that all of the supply chain issues have become very difficult. And I think that eventually when we're ready, this will be great respite in the summer when the time comes.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kelly, please.
Did you wish to make a comment before I move something, Madam Mayor?
I thought you had already moved it.
Well, I hinted at it, but I did want to hear from colleagues before making it formal. Now I feel very encouraged to make my motions.
Okay. And does Councilmember Nastandi, does your second still stand?
It sure does.
Okay.
I will just make a couple of short comments. The city has gone through an awful lot with meetings, with checking the pulse of the community members, of guests who visit our city. And yes, there have been, I hear what our businesses are saying, and our staff and MIG has worked long and hard to find ways to accommodate and correct those issues. Yes, there was trash, right on that plaza. I think there's 5 fast casual restaurants. So of course, during COVID, there was trash. Unfortunately, COVID created so much trash because of to-go. So yes, that did happen. But those are easily remedied. So we have listened. We've had multiple meetings. We've had live meetings where they've been on the street and talked to our residents and to our guests. And I think what we've heard is that would be an asset, but we have to pay attention and to make sure that the design is appropriate and remains an asset for the city of Palm Desert and for El Paseo. And creating that sense of place absolutely increases the value of El Paseo. So those are my comments. So we have a motion and a second.
And just to recap, my motion was to approve the preliminary design for the pedestrian plaza itself, excluding the intersection, with instructions to refine the solutions for delivery access.
Thank you. And that's the same second. Is that accurate? Okay, then can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly.
Why, yes.
Councilmember Nastande.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla.
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you so much. Okay, at this time, we will move to item 23, requests for feedback and direction regarding proposed activities to celebrate the city's 50th anniversary in 2023.
Good evening again, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Thomas Soul, your Public Affairs Manager, and you have before you a staff report outlining a plan for celebrating Palm Desert's upcoming 50th anniversary, which will be on November 26th of 2023. So a little bit down the road, but a certain amount of preparation needs to begin now or begin soon for our year of celebration that's upcoming, and staff is requesting your feedback and direction.
Councilmember Kelly.
I just love that raised hand button. This is a wonderfully robust plan. Congratulations to you and congratulations to all of the staff who collaborated on this. I think it's brilliant. The one suggestion I would make, which may be in everyone's thinking, there's a reference here to including some celebration of the anniversary and various events like concerts in the park, the 4th of July celebration, the Veterans Day celebration. I know you're in communication with the Historical Society, which of course wants to make a very big deal about this and has a committee ready to assist us. I just want to suggest that we give them the opportunity to provide displays at some of these events and information, which would also alert people to the existence of their museum, the opportunity to visit and to learn more. So with that tweak, I just have applause for the plan. I think it's terrific.
Thank you, Councilmember Quintanilla. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. In reading through, I echo what Councilmember Kelly said. I had hoped that there had been more mention of how to incorporate the Historical Society. I know that when I toured, there was a great conversation with Rochelle McCune about they're trying to document in the oral histories of notable Palm Desert residents. So I think not only showcasing that we've made it to this point, but to highlight the local community members that have made it as vibrant as it is would be a good opportunity. And if any of those could be linked in either an Engage Palm Desert or a section of the city website dedicated to the 50th, I think would bring that sense of community through the decades. So that is my feedback, and great job.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions?
Thomas, good work, and I'm looking forward. Gosh, how old are we all going to be then?
Just a little bit older.
Yes, a little bit older, but I look forward to it.
Well, great. Maybe we have a chance for a new city seal at that time.
I second that motion too.
We will get to work on that.
Relevant to the Palm Desert of today. Okay, is there a motion?
I will motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Now, is this the motion to also include a new city seal?
I think that
maybe explore a new city seal.
Okay, that was
feedback.
good.
Feedback.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla.
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is number 24 by minute motion, authorize the use of Rule 28 credits for the Ironwood Park Utility Undergrounding Project. And is that Ryan Gaylor who will be giving us the presentation?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Rule 28 enables utility companies to collect funds from every ratepayer on their electric bill, and they track the funds as credits that the city can spend towards an undergrounding project. The CPUC has recently decided to end that program so that it's sunsetting. So the staff is recommending that the city advance an eligible undergrounding project to take advantage of the funds that we have collected. The only project identified within the city's credit allocation is the Ironwood Park on Chia Drive. At this location, we have 4 utility poles and electrical line that crosses the frontage of the entire park. SCE has confirmed that Ironwood Park is eligible for the use of the 28 credits, and they provided a cost estimate of $500,000 for the project. Therefore, staff's requesting authorization to proceed with the Ironwood Park utility undergrounding project.
Great. Are there any questions for staff? No questions? Well, I'm excited and grab those funds and let's use them for the betterment of Palm Desert. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I will second the motion with commendations to staff for jumping on this issue, finding a suitable project, and how shall I say, not being discouraged by the lack of helpful information reaching us sooner. So thank you for jumping on it and making a purse out of the sow's ear.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Nestunde.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla.
Aye.
Mayor Harnett.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. The next is item 21, request for approval of the Unite Palm Desert Bicycle Incentive Program. And who will be giving us that? It looks like Ms. Glickman, please.
I'm back again. Now it's good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I'm Deborah Glickman, Management Analyst with the Economic Development Department. Before you tonight is the request for approval of a Unite Palm Desert Bicycle Rack Incentive Program. It originally came before you on January 13th of this year. And it was continued so that staff would have a chance to speak with the Resource Preservation and Enhancement Committee, as well as Friends of CV Link. Staff has spoken with both groups and gotten input from them, as well as this program has been put on Engage Palm Desert, which has become such a great resource for all of us for feedback from the community. Basically, the program entails staff and the committees have narrowed down a wide list of potential bike racks for businesses to just a few options. Palm Desert businesses could apply to have a bike rack purchased and installed by the city at their location. Excuse me, it could be either a business or a property owner. And if that application is approved, then the city will take on the responsibility of purchasing and installing the bike rack. Additionally, staff, economic development staff is working with public affairs staff to brand the bike racks. So if this program is approved by the city council, staff will work with the city's marketing agency to figure out the best way to brand the bike racks in a way that will be permanent and not look bad after a little bit of weather on it. So that would be the next step if this program gets approved. The maximum amount per business is $1,000 and the maximum amount for the program at this time is $20,000. If it's successful, we'd be happy to come back for a little bit of a double dip there. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right, are there any questions regarding this program? Yes, Councilmember Kelly.
This is probably in your staff report and I just missed it. But the 4 designs that were selected based upon all of the committee and public input, how much do each of those cost? How far is the $1,000 support going to go?
The price range, pardon me, from I'd say about $400 to close to the $1,000. So it's an up to amount per business. This could serve more than 20 businesses. These are general design ideas. Staff would have to start looking at procurement processes if we're going to be doing bulk purchasing. So they may not be perfectly identical to this, but this is the general idea. They allow for all different size businesses with all different size entryways and parking areas to be accommodated with a bike rack.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a
I will
second?
second.
Okay, we have a
I'll withdraw
motion
my second.
and a second. Can we have a vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla,
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
great, thank you. We'll now go to public hearings. Number 26 is a resolution adopting a notice of exemption in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and approval of Hillside Development Plan, HDP, to construct a 1,103 square foot casita on a property located at 72240 West Upper Way. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, you may. Good evening, and thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Nick Maloney, Associate Planner with the Planning Division. The item for your consideration is approval of a hillside development plan to construct a single-story 1,103 square foot casita on a property located on Upper West Way, and adoption of a notice of exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act. The applicant is Level 7. This project has received recommendations for approval from the Architecture Review Commission and the Planning Commission. The public comment period for tonight's meeting was from April 4th to April 14th this year. Over 1,700 hearing notices were mailed out, and staff has not received any comments on the project prior to the meeting. The project is located here at 72240 West Upper Way, which is located in the hillside just west of Highway 74. The site is 5 acres. It is zoned hillside plan residential. The specific location of the site where the casita will be placed is circled here in red, which is a level portion of the site that was previously graded. And here's some existing views. And here's a view of the existing home, which was developed prior to city incorporation in the 1960s. This is the grading plan that the applicant has proposed, showing the location of the casita. It'll be placed along the boundary of that graded portion. The applicant has complied with requirements of the hillside zoning ordinance requirement by proposing minimal grading, renaturalization, and they are also improving the site by reducing the pad area. The applicant is also proposing a landscape palette, which is comprised of desert native plantings, which are appropriate and incorporate low water usage, which has received approval from ARC and Planning Commission. This is the architecture of the proposed unit. The ARC was complimentary of the design. They liked the form, which is desert contemporary. It features the butterfly roof. And they also found that the exterior finishes helped blend well into the hillside. The applicant provided these renderings, which demonstrate how the architecture will blend into the hillside. And this also shows how the grading is sunken a bit from that existing ridgeline and renaturalized, so it is improving the existing condition of the site. In staff's analysis, we find that it complies with the requirements of the municipal code. Sorry, I can't talk there. It qualifies for an exemption from CEQA as it is allowed by the zone. And it is recommended that you adopt the Planning Commission resolution, thereby approving the hillside development plan and adopting a notice of exemption. The applicant also provided multiple viewshed studies of the hillside, but that concludes staff presentation. We're available for questions if you'd like.
Okay, are there any questions of staff? Any council member questions of staff? Okay, seeing none, we will open the public hearing. And is there anyone who would like to speak to this issue? Okay, seeing no one, that was pretty quick. We will ask, okay, so no presentations, no public testimony, either in favor or opposed. And I'm looking, I see no one. Okay. We will now close the public hearing. And we will give the opportunity for the council members to make comments. And I see Council Member Nastandi's hand is up.
I move to approve this project after we all make comments. It seems that community outreach was done. Staff did a great job. Mr. Maloney, good job. 1,700 mailers were sent out, and I believe that's the best we can do as a city council and staff is, to give notice. And I'm ready to approve the project.
Okay, Councilmember Kelly.
I second the motion and want to express gratitude to the applicant for bringing us a very, very well thought out proposal, and to our Planning Commission and Architectural Review Commission for the work they did to further refine and assure compliance with all of our requirements and standards. Good job, everybody.
Great. I see Councilmember Quintanilla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A wholehearted ditto on everything that Councilmember Kelly said. It was a beautifully presented project with incredible renderings, and an extra thank you to Mr. Maloney and for incorporating what was learned from other projects. So I'm sure that survey and mailers were a lot of work, but thank you for going that extra step to ensure that the community was able to give feedback on something that feels so personal in their community. So my gratitude.
Okay, so I think we have a motion. Did we have a second? Yes, we did. Okay, is this the time where we said, what? No milkweed? Anyway, we can have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Kelly.
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande. Councilmember Quintanilla.
Aye.
Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Now the next public hearing is item 27, resolution approving a historic district designation for Sandpiper Condominiums, Circle Number 1, located on El Paseo. And it looks like Mr. Finley is going to present today. You're muted.
Unmuted.
There you go.
There we go. Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I am Jason Finley, your Chief Building Official and Cultural Resource Preservation Lead. That's a big 50-cent title right there. Tonight, I bring forward another historic district public hearing for Sandpiper Condominiums, Circle Number 1, the very first circle and concept of the architectural firm of Palma and Kreisel. On May 3rd, 2021, the Palm Springs Garden Apartments Number 1 Homeowners Association, which represents Sandpiper Circle Number 1, voted unanimously to pursue historic district designation. And on February 2nd, 2022, the Cultural Resource Preservation Committee conducted a public hearing and unanimously recommended nominating the Sandpiper Condominium Circle 1, located on El Paseo, with historic designation. Staff recommends approval of these application, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council for staff at this time? Okay, seeing none, then we will open the public hearing. If there is an applicant who would like to make remarks or a presentation, this would be the time to do that. And I'm looking, I see no one. So at this time, we will ask for any, oh wait, I see, well, we'll ask for any public, at the public hearing, either favor or opposed. And I see Ginny has her hand up. Ginny is in the queue.
Yes, am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
That's good. I didn't get my hand to raise the first time I tried. I'm Ginny Kronk. I live at 141 Sandpiper Street. I'm the president of the HOA for Circle 1. And I just want to say that all of our members have been very involved, our owners have been very involved in this. We're very excited to see it at its finish line here. And I thank you very much for everybody on the city who's helped us along with this and the committees that have approved it. If there are questions that you want to ask an owner, I'd be happy to answer, but I think you're probably ready to vote.
Okay, well, we have someone else in the queue who would like to speak. So Ginny, have you completed your remarks?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Okay, we'll give Diana L. a chance to speak.
Oh, hi, good afternoon. My name is Diana Lamar. I'm also a resident in Circle 1 at 112 Sandpiper. And I'd first like to thank Ginny and all of the residents for their thorough job on this presentation. And I'd like to thank Ms. Quintanilla and Mr. Finley for listening to all the homeowners. I think this is a plus for the city of Palm Desert. And I'd like you to vote in favor. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak either to support or oppose this? Seeing no one, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And we'll take council member comments at this time. Are there any council members? And I see council member Quintanilla's hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to express my gratitude for the applicants who were very detailed, which makes it easier to move through the other committees. So with that said, I motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Nestande,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintanilla, Mayor Harnick.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Wonderful. Okay, that is the last item on our agenda. And I just want to remind everybody that our next meeting is on Thursday, April 28th. And in the meantime, enjoy your family and friends and reflections on Ramadan, Passover, and Easter. Make the most of them. Thank you, everyone, for your participation tonight.
Stay healthy, everyone.
Meeting adjourned 5:47 p.m.